What's up, guys? Reef NYC back with another video, and today we're going to talk about how do you prep your fish tank for when you go on extended leave or go on vacation. Basically, I'll be going to Hawaii in a few weeks. Stay tuned for that coverage because we're also going to talk about the food, going to talk about the wildlife, the beaches, the corals, the fish there that I see, everything that happens in Hawaii. I'll be there. So super excited about that. But yeah, just want to talk about how do we want to prep fish tanks, in my case, 2 fish tanks, before you leave on vacation. I think the main thing is to do is not touch your tank for about a week or two before you leave. Basically with that, like you want to make sure that your tank can run smooth as much as possible without you having your hands in the tank, without like messing around with the knobs and lighting or any controlling stuff. Just leave your tank running for about a week or two and see how it does. If nothing happens, then you'll be more confident for when you leave. You don't have to touch anything. But obviously, when something bad happens, of course it's going to happen when you leave. That always happens. But yeah, try not to touch your tank for about a week. See how it runs, making sure everything looks the same as you left it the week that you didn't touch it for. Next, obviously, is make sure you have food for your fish. This is the Eheim Auto Feeder. I have it on both my tanks. Highly recommended. Super cheap investment. I rarely feed my fish. I feed it only if I'm next to the tank and I just throw some food in. But obviously, this takes care of most of the work. I have this set to 3 interval times, so it'll spin and do its thing. Let me activate it for you. Let's see if these fishes eat. There you go. Some food drops in. See the pellets there. Fishes go crazy. So yeah, that goes off 3 times a day. I don't have to worry about feeding. I don't have to worry about someone coming to my tank and feeding the fish and overfeeding. I have it all set. For every time it spins, it drops a certain amount of pellets into the tank. Obviously, the feeding ring helps a lot with controlling the food into the tank rather than it going into the overflow. Some will go in there, but not all of it. So this is a great investment. What else? So basically, yeah, what you want to do also is just, clean your tank real quick before you leave. Obviously, you want your tank to be super clean before you leave. When you get back, there will probably be an algae film, which is fine, but make sure you just want to clean your tank just a bit, even including the sump. Like, you want to clean your sump up as much as possible. With that being said, next, you want to clean out your skimmer. Maybe the week or so, maybe a couple days before you leave, just dump your skimmer out. Like just clean it up, make sure it's all clean. And yeah, you don't want to come back with an overflowing skimmer and that polluting your tank. So make sure your skimmer is all cleaned out. Clean the cup out. Clean as much of the sump out as well. But yeah, clean out your skimmer. Next, we want to talk about dosing. So whatever you're dosing, just make sure you top off your dosing containers. You don't want to run out of dosing components. So just make sure your lines are clear. Do a manual push through the dosing lines to make sure that your chemicals are coming through correctly. But yeah, make sure you check up on your doser. Just do like a quick little maintenance check on your whole entire tank. And obviously, I think the most important part is your auto top off. Make sure you top off your auto top off before you leave. We have the Toonsy auto top off right there. I pretty much refill this every 2 to 3 weeks, but before you go on vacation, make sure that's topped off and up and running. What else do we have? I mean, since I have the Apex, I can see what my tank is doing when I'm away, whether it be their temperature spikes or pH spikes or whatever. So having a controller like this can give you a peace of mind of how your tank is running. If it's overheating or whatever, it'll let you know so you can shut off anything from wherever your location is. And I think the most important part of any tank when you're gone is having a tank sitter. Not everyone has the luxury of having a tank sitter, but if you have friends in a hobby, if you have trusted friends or family members that can take care of your tank, or they even have a tank, just ask them, maybe swing by like 1 or 2 times a week just to check up on your tank. Especially if they have a fish tank, that's super helpful because they know what to look out for, what is happening over your tank, especially if there's water on the floor or something. they can spot the errors. But obviously, you just want someone to just make sure your tank is not flooding the apartment when you're gone. So tank sitter is optional, but like I said, if you're running your tank and not touching your tank for at least 1 or 2 weeks and it's running perfectly fine, you'll have the peace of mind that, you know, you don't have to ask someone to, oh, can you come check over my tank? But if you have the luxury of having someone come over, I highly recommend. Especially, I've seen the horror stories of like people overfeeding their tanks, and like, you know, they came back home to like dead corals and fish. You know, everything's already automated, so if you don't touch your tank for at least a week or two, you already know that it's working perfectly fine. Nothing has died. But yeah, try to get your tank as automated as possible before you leave. And highly recommend getting that auto feeder so that whoever's looking over your tank is not overfeeding and just dumping crazy amounts of food into the tank. Obviously, guys, if those are some of my top of the line tips, if you guys have any further tips on what you've done before you've gone on vacation, please leave it in the comment section below. But as always, I like to keep my videos short and sweet, straight to the point. But yeah, leave any of your tips, leave any of your comments, questions. I'm sure I can answer them, or someone in the community can answer them as well. But thanks for watching, guys. Peace.